Hello friends! Today we're going to go over making a focus or vision or goal board, or just to finally just put down your priorities and what do you have going on to set up your year. If you're new here, my name is Julie Norman and I put out planner and planner related videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. So I'm glad to have you here and I hope you'll stay for a while so we can do our planning together. This is my focus board for last year, and before I do any of this, there's a lot of percolating in the brain and a lot of marinating things, and this is why I kind of feel like my year is only 9 months long and then I have 3 months off. And I can unpack that a little bit more for you too, because it is still January and I'm working on what am I going to do this year. So this was for 2020 and I made this about just about a year ago. It's just my rhythm to have January as a setup for the year. And it lasts until about beginning of November, and that is when all the holidays kick in. I just kind of focus on those instead. So that's why it's kind of like a 9-month year. I had started to make my one for 2021 here, and when I thought, well, I should probably just grab the camera so you can see how I do this. So last year, I had 4 areas of focus: personal, business, activities, and dreams. Personal are things that are just me alone, just like my relationship with God, my marriage, my health, my critters. That's where that fits. Business, yarn repping, my shop booth and antique store, teaching, online sales. Activities, these are things that I want to do, and also volunteering. So I was with the Fiber Fest, the Spinning Guild, the Knitting Guild, Sisters on the Lamb, Anwig, and my dreams. So I have that crossways here. We wanted to go on an Elastic cruise because it was our 25th anniversary year, my writing, and our new home. So as you can already tell, some of these things kind of went off the rail. But when I put all those together, I also put them in priority of what they were in my life, of what was most important. The first one was God, and then marriage, and then my critters, because if I don't take care of them, they're not going to survive. And then my health, so that was number 4, and then writing was 5th. Let's see, yarn repping, that was a high responsibility. That was my big job, which I have given up in the beginning of the pandemic and health issues. My booth was next because I have to keep up with that. And then I went to the Fiber Fest. I was on the planning committee for that, and then preparing to find a new house. Then we wanted to prepare for the Alaska cruise, which didn't happen because of the pandemic. Anyway, another Fiber Fest, fiber-related event, Association of Northwest Weavers Guilds and Spinners. And we were gonna have one in Billings, but that didn't work out with the pandemic. And then my guild, I was an officer with our local hand spinning guild. And then teaching, sub-teaching. Then my online sales was next. Then the Sisters on the Lamb. This is a fun group of fiber people who we get together and we go camping or do retreats. It's kind of like Sisters on the Fly, except for fiber people. Something I started. And then last is the Knitting Guild, which was just starting up about here, and I wanted to be involved in it because I really believe in it, but yeah. So some of these were more priorities, not because I wanted them to be, but because they were important. I had to make a commitment to. So it's going to change a lot because a lot of these things are not as, obviously this is not a priority. The new home right now is not a priority. Some of the other things are not. So it's interesting to kind of even historically to look back and see what was it that I was going to do. So I started my new one right here. So again, I put the focus in the middle, and I'm working in this traveler's notebook. This is kind of between a wide and an A5 size. It's one that I made myself. I was fortunate enough to flip the page and have a whole 2-page spread, because sometimes there's not a 2-page spread like that on some of the pages. So it was like it was meant to be today. So focus. And then I started with personal up here, and it might be hard to read it because this was a thin line pen. I'm going to just outline it a little bit so maybe you can see it better. I put God, marriage, health, critters, and I added family. So that was the first corner. The second corner is going to be business, and this could be for you if you want it to be different than business, such as how you make your money or your finances or your work, your career, that kind of thing. So I will just write for me, business is just a broad enough category. And I just do that, I just circle it to make it stand out. One thing I am from last year, we'll just put that here. I no longer am a yarn rep. I do still have my booth, so I'll just put that up here. Put a little stem. It's kind of like a mind mappy kind of way to do this. Booth 60. I do still do sub-teaching. And then I have online sales. So that's all I have right now going on. I'm just going to leave that blank space just in case something else comes to mind. Alright, so now we're going to go to the lower left, and this is the activities. And I do kind of color code these. If you can see, I have pink for myself, red for business, activities is blue, dreams are purple. And that's just the way it worked for me. It's the color of pens I had. Alright, let's find a blue pen. Activities. I guess I kind of went sideways on this. Now, if you have other family members, people in your family or household that you have to care for, and you have to keep track of them as a priority too, please add that too. I don't. It's just my husband and I and our critters, so I don't have those considerations. But if that is something you have to keep track of, maybe you're homeschooling now, or you are taking care of maybe an older family member, or school schedules, whatever. So those things you will want to add in as well that are not on here, because there's probably some things that are unique to you that are not to me. I have the Fiberfest. I am still semi-involved. And last year I put them in slow down. I'm losing interest, because I do lose interest sometimes in things. And the guild. I am not involved in the guild anymore officially, although I will help them as needed. I am not involved in the knitting guild. Anwig is gone. But I still am involved in Sisters on the Lamb. And I do have a Tuesday knitting group that I started, so I feel like I need to keep in that. So look at how different my activities went from last year, which is alright. I mean, it's a different year. Maybe things will change as it comes up. And the last corner here is dreams. So I've got my purple pen. Write the word dreams. And don't get caught up with having to have the correct handwriting or just the correct method. It's basically a work exercise for you and your brain, and having it flow on the page this way and that way helps to loosen up that linear thinking. Obviously we're not doing the Alaska cruise, but writing is still a big one, so I'm going to writing large. New home, I'm not really going to do the new home thing, but I'm going to do a box. I have the box sort as my priority. Minimize. Not that that's a dream, but it is kind of a, maybe dreams and goals would be a better thing. That was all that I had here. However, this is my 2021 goal book. I actually probably should have done this in here. I could copy it in here. There's 4 things that I wanted to make sure I was doing, and those are part of there. So my dreams are kind of gotten a little down scale, but that's okay, because writing is the big one here, and I want to make a focus on that. So now when I think about all these priorities, what I did here is I made a little notes on what I wanted to focus on. So let's do that. So God, I think I like to do more prayer, and I also am doing the scripture copying. Marriage. You know, we're always working on relationship. How about communication? That we've been married for 25 years, and guys, I don't think you ever get to the point where you are completely always compatible. So there's always something to work on, because we change as people, and so does our marriage. So family and friends, and there are 2 weddings coming up, and I don't know if I can go. And also, I'm going to branch this off, genealogy, because I am the one in the family in charge of that. I'm making this kind of a rectangle as opposed to the circle here. Critters, just make sure that they are taken care of. And health. AIP is an autoimmune protocol is what I'm doing, and I hope it's going to bring me into remission on some of my issues, and then move towards health. Now that I have some energy, I can do that. So the booth 60, This one is I want to add $100 in inventory because that would probably average out my output. Sub-teaching, there's not much there to really add to, just continue. Online sale, I don't know yet on this one, so I'm going to leave that blank. Oh, one more thing that I need to do is my taxes. I don't really like numbers and paperwork, so I always drag my feet on that. Okay, now we're going to the activities. Fiberfest, and that one is Help as Able, and that will be in September. So if you are a fiber person and you're around at the last weekend in September, come on over to Billings and say hi. Tuesday knit group, continue to attend. And then the Sisters on the Lamb. This one is very dependent on the pandemic. Together as often as it will allow. We just have so much fun together, and I just love going out and retreats with them. Okay, so the last one, I just have 2 in my dreams. That is kind of sad, but writing is a big one, and I'm actually going to double outline it to make it stand out. And I have a story, the Ingomar story, finished. And then box sort all the things. It feels like in a year I can totally get done with that, but it's just one of those things. So actually I have plenty of room now here to add things if I need to. Now comes the real thinking of what are the priorities here? What if things were going to happen, shake up, and I won't have time to finish all of these things? What absolutely needs to get done? I'm going to grab another pen that is a totally different color than all of these, and that'll be the green one. This is a calligraphy one, but I'm just going to use it as a pen and number them in priority. So the first one always for me is God, so I'm going to put the number 1 here. So if I got nothing else done, it's my relationship with God. The second one would be, of course, marriage. No getting out of that one until death, right? And then the third one, like before, is going to be the critters. Number 4 for me is my health. So the personal stuff is all taking priority. Now, you would think the family would be next, but for me, the writing is number 5. Well, there's nothing like looking up and realizing the camera stopped recording. So, anyways, as I was saying, writing for me is number 5 because I need to finish the book before I would attend a wedding. Oh gosh, I just realized I did 2 number 6s. Well, while you weren't looking, while the camera wasn't recording. Anyways, number 5, I needed to finish this before, more important than attending a wedding. So you kind of think, well, what's more important next? What's the most important thing that I have to do? It may not be your heart importance, but the things that you have to get done. So number 6, I had put taxes because I need to jump this up in priority. I don't like to do bookwork. I don't like to work with numbers. But it's something that I need to finish with my businesses. I have to finish it up for my yarn repping because I was a rep for part of the year, and my online sales and such too. Anyway, so number 6 is taxes, and here's where I messed up. Okay, so this is actually number 7, so I'm going to pull out my white out. And while I was talking away and the recorder wasn't recording, I was mentioning that there is no right or wrong way to do this. It's what makes sense to you. So if you really want to write it out, linear, bullet point form, or in an outline form, that's fine. This just helps me to just break away from that mindset of lines, and then because it flows, it's kind of mind mappy flowing, that you can see the priorities in a different way. So number 7 is genealogy, and I have actually broken apart the genealogy for the family and the weddings differently because they are 2 different projects. And you can do that. I could actually take my writing and break it out into research, into first draft, editing, final draft, publication. There's all cover art. There's all kinds of things within one of these things. But I just want to do a big picture thing. So if you would need to be more general or be more specific, whatever makes sense for you is fine, because you don't have to do it exactly like this. But just the general goal of getting all of these things that are in your life and out there. Number 7 was the genealogy. So the next thing on priority, Tuesday knitting group, is just there. It is always there every week. It's not something that I have to work on. I just go, but it's part of my life that I do every week. So it is focus, and it is something that helps me stay sane. So the next thing to go along with that, I think we'll put on the booth. So now I have to pick, do I want to do the online sales or the weddings? What's more important, selling stuff or the wedding? I think for this year, because it's just 1 year, the weddings. Not like it's going to be, I have to choose really between them. But if I did have to choose on those, what would it be? So this is going to be 11. Oh, you know something, I forgot this one. So here's what I'm going to do. And because it's my stuff, I can do it if I want to. But I'm going to make it 7A, and this is 7B. Because these two are kind of in priority together with me. So you can do that if you want. Or you can take out your whiteout and do it. But I'm okay with that. It's just for my benefit. And of course now you're seeing it too. Seeing my messy process. Okay, the next thing that I want to make a priority, I have 3 things left. I have my sub-teaching, Fiberfest, and Sisters on the Lamb. So if I had an event to go to or a sub-teaching, which one would I pick? I actually would pick out the Sisters on the Lamb. Sorry, sub-teaching. But these are usually on the weekend. Then the sub-teaching, and finally, the Fiberfest. So those are the 15 things of focus or priority or whatever you want to call it that I have. So this will be kind of a guide of during this year, if I'm working on some stuff and I realize that I'm done with writing, now what should I work on next? Oh yeah, next thing my priority is tax. And it can change during the year. I mean, obviously it will change because look at this. This changed a lot. There are several things in here that are no longer valid. You know, things changed. So you could do this once a year. You could do this every quarter, every month, whatever. It's not so much of going back and referring to this sometimes, but it's just good to do and it's good to review. But it's also getting everything that's in your mind cleared out so you can see it on paper and take your pen to the paper and make it physical. Just even if you close this up and don't see it again until next year, you have outlined it in your head, and maybe you don't remember all of it, but you remember going through and thinking, this is why I feel really busy. Or I'm looking at my dreams and thinking, I only have 2 of them, really? I used to have tons of them. But I've also, in the last year, because of the limitations of my physicalness with my health issues, I had to hone it really down, really what is important. So this is a lot less busy as it was before. Now you might think this isn't very pretty, so I'm going to take out my sticker book and find some stickers that I think would work. You know what I don't have on here, guys? You! I don't have you on here. Duh. I knew there was something missing. YouTube. And what priority would I give this? I do this every week. It is, actually, I jump it up before my writing. So I think you guys are number 4.5 or 4B. So there we go. That is just that simple. So the beauty of doing this is that now that you have this, if you have something comes up that, say you went to a parent-teaching meeting and they need somebody to help with an event, and so you think, okay, if I helped with that, where would it fit in my priorities or my focus in life? And maybe you feel like, it would be under activities. Is that more important than what you are already doing? Do you still have time to do all of these things and do a good job? Can you add that one? Can you take your pen out and make another little thing of, okay, now I'm going to help with the fundraiser. Or if you really think, for so long, my dream has been to travel to Hawaii. So you would say, okay, when I look at all this, is that feasibly going to fit with all the other things that I have to do? If I do the Hawaii thing, maybe I'm not going to finish my box sort or something. Or maybe then I have to up my online sales, stuff like that. So just kind of to think about what is going to be the focus and goals. If you want to put the word goals here, if you whatever, you can change that in and out. But just to mind map-ish a little bit of things that are going in your life and to put some broad categories on them. So I hope you enjoyed planning along with me a little bit and to see a little bit of how things work. It is kind of interesting to me to go back and look at what happened in my previous ones. I get a lot of historical value on this, and I hope you do too. So there are the 2 ones. Oh, see if I can do this. From year to year, 2020, 2021. So Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching and have a joyful day. Goodbye.